Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, the review podcast tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, and with me always is Maya Don Fisher. How's your week been?
Not good. Not good at all.
Yeah.
Very long time, very good friend passed away yesterday. Not going to go into any details on here, but it sucks. It sucks very much. And I miss my friend. I just want to say, Gary, I love you and I'm going to miss you very much. Already do.
I know that if he was a close friend of yours, that means he was a good person. That's what I know.
Oh, he was one of the best. Absolutely great, wonderful person. It just really, really sucks. And
It's never easy.
sitting here holding his personalized guitar pick that he gave me just a couple of weeks back when I was over at his house. He was a musician and extremely talented one at that. But beyond that, just world class human being. How are you doing?
I'm not faring much better. It's been a rough week. Last Friday, my transmission went out so bad that I couldn't drive it anymore. It was Friday evening. I noticed that it was kind of hitching every time I would go into drive, and I was like, okay, I didn't think anything of it. And then Saturday morning, like when I would put it into drive, it would take about 10 to 15 seconds to get into gear just to go forward. And every time I would stop to pick up an order and then try to go forward again, it would take a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And I was like, this is bad. I don't know what's going on, though. And the last order that I had, I could reverse the car. I put it in reverse to get out of the person's driveway and like turned and kind of parked a little bit on the side and fully had the brake on, put it into drive, let off the brake, and it just wouldn't go into gear. It took about 30 seconds. And then it finally went into gear, and I called my dad, and I said, hey, we got a big old problem. He was like, what's going on? So I explained it to him, and he was like, just get it home. And on the drive home, which was about 3-4 miles away, somewhere in there, let's see. No, 6 miles away. Every stoplight, when I came to a full, complete stop, I could hit the gas, and the whole car would rev up. And then as soon as it went into gear, it jet forward. And, I told my dad about that, and he was like, that's the transmission. That's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And we parked it in the garage, and we both were like, we don't know what to do. We're at our wit's end. We had just fixed the brakes. We'd fixed the tires. We thought things would be good for a while. Granted, the AC was out on the car, but that's, we could work around that. That's not that big of a deal. But without an income, we didn't know what to do. And so also trying to take my dad to dialysis. And there's a slew of issues now that we have to deal with because we don't have a vehicle. Mainly me working. So
honestly, it sounds like you just need some transmission fluid.
So that's what I've been hearing for a lot of people say is that like what the mechanics should be able to do is change the transmission fluid. So drain what was remaining and then add new, and it should be working fine. Because two of the factors into that is back in 2020, if you remember, this is not the first time we dealt with this. Back in 2020, the transmission went out again. And but at that time, we needed to replace the entire transmission.
Mm.
And we spent about $2,500 having a used one installed. But that used one didn't have a fuck ton of miles like this one did, or like the first one did.
Yeah.
And But this used one does it should not have gone out this early.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a sign of low fluid. Because it sounds classic, not enough hydraulic pressure in the system, causing gear slippage, high RPMs, not, while the vehicle's not going into gear from a stop position, but yeah, the engine revs at high RPMs and it's moving really sluggish and herky jerky, getting off the line, so to speak. Yeah, I'd say that's what it is, and hopefully that'll fix the issue. It just sucks you have to wait before you can get it looked at by a mechanic.
That's the thing, is it's next Wednesday when we're supposed to take it in, and the wait to that day is excruciating, and honestly quite exhausting, if I'm being honest. Like, I haven't slept much since Saturday night. Like, it's been 4 hours a night, and last night was the first night that I was able to get more sleep, but I also went to bed at like 11 p.m. I smoked a shit ton of weed, took my, like, because I take pain pills that are, it's acetaminophen, but it has the nighttime one, so it makes you sleepy.
Yeah, Tylenol PM essentially.
Yeah, I take that, or took that, and passed out by like 11 p.m. and I woke up at 7, and I was like, fucking dope, I actually got sleep. But like, now the bill problem starts to come down because I wasn't able to earn a whole lot before the car got put into the garage. So we're really fucking low on money, and we have some things popping up, and I'm just so fucking stressed. I'm going to get an ulcer from all this. But, it's like, legitimately, the only thing that gets my mind off any of this is watching shows. So either, like, we watched The Boys Thursday night, so issues hadn't cropped up yet. But, like, Saturday night, or not Saturday, yeah, Saturday watching, Players, or watching the finale to The Boys, or I have a subscription. It's only $6 a month, but you've heard of College Humor, right?
Yeah.
So they have their own subscription service called Dropout.tv. And on Dropout.tv, they have a bunch of shows that are really cool to watch. One of my favorites is called Game Changer. Game Changer, or the idea behind Game Changer, is trying to pull up the website now. Every episode, the contestants have no idea what game or how they're going to play the game. They don't know the rules. They don't know what the game is. They are completely in the dark. So is the audience. The only people that know how to play the game or know what's going on is the host and the cast, or the crew, I should say.
Yeah.
So they have to figure out how to play as they're playing it. And you get to figure it out along the way and go like, oh, is that a rule? No, that's not good. That can't be it. Super fucking fun to watch. I'll give you an example of a couple episodes just to give you kind of a better idea. So the first episode entirely is called Lie Detector. As the game starts, the crewmate brings out a little cart with a machine on it, has a light on top of it. And he looks at the first contestant and says, what's your name? And he's like, Brennan Liam Mulligan, and ding, goes green. Goes to the next person, and he says, where do you work? And she says, College Humor. Ding, goes off. Goes to the third person. What's 2 + 2? She goes, 4. And he goes, ding, goes off. Then it goes back to the first guy, and the question was a little bit more personal. And he was a little reluctant on answering, but he answered it, and it was ding, it was green. Goes to the second person. The question was a little bit more personal. And he's very reluctant to answer it. Then he answers it, and it goes red. Then it goes to the third person. Same thing. Goes green, though. And they're trying to figure this out. As the game starts to roll on, they figure out that it is a lie detector machine. And the only way to get points is to tell the truth. But as the game is rolling on, the questions are getting more and more personal, right? And in the third act of the episode, that's why I'm a third act. It's the last
Third
part
round.
of third round. Yeah, there you go. It is revealed to the audience that because they're like, how does it know the truth if we're not hooked up to anything? Like, how the fuck is that working? It's revealed to us right before the third round that, like, maybe at the end of the second round almost, that what's causing that is that all three of the contestants' significant others are backstage with a remote.
Oh.
And then at the beginning of the third round, they bring them out, and they have to play almost a kind of a different game while looking their significant other right in the eye when it comes to these truths.
That's whew.
So that was episode 1. That game is never played again for all 4 seasons.
Huh.
There's one that's just a straight improv show, and points are handed out arbitrarily. What was this one? Nope, that's not what I pressed. Oh, so this one was really funny. So all 3 contestants come out. Host says, "So do we know the rules?" And they're all like, "No, we have no idea what we're doing." He's like, "Yeah, exactly. This is Game Changer, where you don't know the rules." And he says, he calls the stagehand's name. He says, "Can you bring out the mouth?" And they bring out this big mouth. And as they bring out the big mouth, a sound will play. It is revealed that to the audience, and I'm sure the contestants see it beforehand, that there's a big table with a huge number of items, right? They have to figure out what sound ties to which item, and the only way they can get points is if they put it into the mouth of the thing, and it goes, either it spits it back out or goes num 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 num.
Yeah.
One of was like cowabunga, so they put the pizza in there. But one that was a little bit more like difficult was I don't remember. There was a lot that were pretty difficult. But at a certain point, like towards the end of the game, the table runs out of items, but they're still playing the game. So they have to figure out what they could do with that. Like the second to last one was the sound was "Feed me, Seymour." And
Okay, from Little Shop of Horrors.
Right. So I went, "Put your whole body in the mouth. Go, just jump into the fucking mouth." And she did, and she got the points. I was like, yes. So, but yeah, that's the idea for the game. One of I think it was season 2. They give all 3 contestants a clipboard with a bunch of like prompts on them, really weird, arbitrary sentences, either questions or statements or something that make no sense. And if you heard someone say that to you randomly while you're on the street, you'd think they were fucking crazy, right? 10 people out on the street were sleeper agents, and one of those things on your clipboard would activate them. Here's the thing. Only 10 people on the street were aware of what was going on. Everybody else was a random bystander that had no idea, was not in on it. So
That's
they had
awesome.
to run around on the street saying that shit to random people. It was so fucking funny, dude. I was cracking up. In the last season, they got 3 people who have been doing theater and musical theater for years. They got them to do an improv musical on stage. It was unbelievably impressive. It was so good you could almost argue that it wasn't improv. But there were numerous times throughout it where they'd either try to sync up the phrase that they wanted to sing together and both fuck it up or something like that, or fuck up a prompt. It was so fucking cool. But yeah, like that I highly recommend watching Game Changer. You'll have a great time. They have a show called Actually, which is a game show in which they give you a sentence, a fact about something from pop culture, except one thing's wrong in it. One thing is off. And you have to go, actually, and then finish it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's really fucking fun. A ton of fucking Dungeons and Dragons stuff on there. A ton. Like it's the whole thing is called Dimension 20, and like this list is every single different D&D style show they have.
Nice.
A fucking bunch. But yeah, it's only $6 a month. It's fucking worth it. Another one that's really funny that I need to get into is called Breaking News. And what it is a bunch of people, comedians primarily, they're in a newsroom style setting, and each person has a different position within that newsroom. Either it's anchor, weather guy, sports, yada yada, so on and so forth, right? They have no clue what their prompter says, and they cannot laugh. Not a single person knows what the prompter is going to say. And if they break, they lose points.
Oh.
Yeah. So I need to watch more of that. I've watched clips of that, and that shit's really funny. But yeah, so I've been watching a lot of that, and it's been helpful. It's been very helpful. So, but yeah, so now that we're past that, because that took longer than it needed to. Why don't we get into reviewing things, since that's what we like to do here? I think
we like to do a lot of things, but that's the general purpose of us being here.
You don't like my company? It's just the shows, huh? That was meant to be funny. So we're gonna review. We're gonna review Players episode 8.
7.
Was it 7?
Yeah.
Why do I have 8 written down?
I don't know, because The Boys was episode 8. And
I was looking at I was looking at next week's episode, but anyway, yeah, you are correct. So episode 7 of Players, the season finale of Boys season 3, and the season finale of Miss Marvel. So yeah, that's what you gotta look forward to this episode. Why don't we go ahead and get started with with Players, episode 7?
Yeah. Well, episode 6 ended with the young heiress that was wanting to buy the team. Episode 7 starts out with she was outbid by a venture capital company called Blue Wing Capital, and everybody's really worried about the future of the team. In the meantime, was it which teammate was it? Nightfall that was just like really coming into his own and fucking carrying the team to fucking wins, and they made the playoffs. And
Hold on, I feel like I'm missing something here, because that feels like the episode. That feels like the episode we reviewed last week.
Well, no, it carried over into that. They actually make the playoffs, and what it is, they're going up against.
I see what you're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah. They make the playoffs. They are facing Dignitas, which is another team. That is the team that Frugger, the old AD carry for Fugitive and Cream Cheese's friend, is on that team now. And Cream Cheese tweeted out, "Gonna sweep them in 3 because I got a high school reunion to get to tonight." And basically, it shows, you see signs of him and Organism actually working together and communicating together and doing well, allowing them to just demolish Dignitas in 3 games, like they said. And then, of course, the rest of the episode focuses on Cream Cheese at his high school reunion. You learn that he had a girlfriend, and You know, he talks about how he was popular in school and got along with everybody. And then you see him at his reunion, and it's like you would imagine there's nobody there really recognizes him or even gives a shit that he's there, even though he probably makes more money than anybody else there, actually. Um,
He even tries to utilize that against them, and they just do not give a shit.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's a good little interesting episode.
The show is definitely becoming something a little bit more than what like if you think about the 2 seasons of American Vandal, right, that they wrote, that they made.
Yeah.
It's funny the entire time. It doesn't really get serious. You don't really like you kind of give a shit about the characters, but at the end of the day, it's just a silly, funny thing. This, like, they're actually doing some seriously well done character study.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, I laugh at some really fucking solid jokes, especially last episode, that are just, they're genuinely really funny. But then you get to the high school reunion part, and you start to feel bad for Cream Cheese because he desperately needs that validation. His girlfriend said in that one part where, you know, he's always looked for his parents' validation, which he's never going to get. So he looks for that in other people. And when they don't give that to him, he lashes out. And that is a psychological character study. And it's really fucking well done for this show. And like they keep doing that where I'm like, this guy's a piece of shit. And then later I'm like, oh, he's not. I feel bad for him now.
Yeah. And they managed to do this in, you know, like 25 minutes.
Yeah. It's impressive. The show is really fucking well made.
Yeah, and you know, sadly, I just don't think it has the viewership that it deserves.
No, there's too many people who are writing it off as like just a parody or a spoof of the competitive gaming culture, and I'm like, no. I mean, it is, but that's not the entire point of it. Like, I personally feel like it gives a better face to that world.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, they've captured the essence of esports culture, League of Legends culture in general, in specific. I mean, but they're not shitting on it. They're not insulting it. They're paying it respect.
That's how I look at it. Yeah,
and that's the thing. You know, it's like, oh, it's just playing video games. Anybody can do that. Right. Not anybody can just do that. I mean,
no, there was a long time ago. There was a guy talking about, I think he was a StarCraft 2 competitor. But he was talking about how he's like, competing in video games is not just it's not just being able to sit down and play a video game. You have to be able to be physically fit to do it.
Yeah.
And the interviewer was like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not actually doing anything physical. You're not going out and doing, like, you're not playing soccer and have to run a lot, so you have to keep your cardio up, or you're playing, you know, football where your strength has to be up or whatever. And he was like, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that if your body is out of shape, your mind is out of shape. And you need your mind in tip-top shape in order to make the choices in the game and be quick enough to recognize them. Yep. And I went, fuck yeah, let's show that. And honestly, the show does a good job at having that. But it also does an excellent job at showing the toxicity that the culture can bring too. And they did a really good job of that last episode while also being really funny with the AD carry. What the hell is his name?
Nightfall,
thank you. They showed that with Nightfall where he let the toxic crowd who wanted
the previous guy.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. They wanted him
Guru.
back. Guru. I knew it was 2 fucking syllables. I was gonna say Fuji. I'm like, that's not right. But they wanted Guru back, and he knew that. But then and I was like, oh, that sucks. That's a real thing that happens. And then they turned the comedy key and were like, then he found out he didn't have an STI, and that really got him going. It's like, that's fucking funny. And so it's that kind of writing that makes this show so well done. And this episode, again, was fucking stellar in doing that. Like, there were some funny bits. Like, fucking Cream Cheese and the manager are sitting in that office talking about how if the bank buys them out, they're going to let them go. They're going to fire them. And the manager goes, oh, they'll get rid of me before they get rid of you. And Cream Cheese just goes, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then as he's leaving, he's like, so you're going to the reunion? He's like, yeah, why aren't you going? And he's like, but it's like, if you see so-and-so, get that $15 that they owe me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you guys are making 6 figures a year, upper 6 figures a year, and you live in a mansion. And you're worried about $15 fucking dollars. I mean, that shit is funny.
That's what I love about this show, is that it doesn't feel like it's. I'll give you an example of something that I always kind of notice. So, Big Bang Theory, right? It was a sitcom that just happened to be about a bunch of nerds and geeks, and that was it. And at a certain point, the show took a shift, and it was point and laugh at the nerd/geek, and not let's laugh at their life outside of being a nerd/geek. This show never does that. It's never going to take that turn. We're not laughing at them because, or we're not laughing at them for being professional gamers. We're laughing at them for either making a stupid decision or saying something stupid.
Yeah, that's another thing that this show does well. Many gamers have severe social awkwardness. This show captures and highlights that social awkwardness very well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the joke from last episode, I think if you heard it in a certain context, you might take offense to it. But when not Guru, but Organism's older brother looks at the benefactor and he's like, and these dudes fuck. They fuck women.
Yeah.
That joke is funny, but it's not making fun of gamers for not being able to get laid. It's making fun of the stereotype that gamers can't get laid.
Yeah.
That's what it's making fun of. And it does it in a very clever way. But I think a lot of people might misinterpret that. I don't know. We can only do so much on this channel to try to get people to watch the show, but I keep recommending it to people.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. What grade would you give this episode?
A solid A. I think that it does an excellent job at furthering the character study of especially Cream Cheese, but with a lot of other characters too, like kind of how Frugger is handling the move.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't want to be on Dignitas. He'd rather be with Fugitive, with his friends. But, he had to move on. He had to make money. And so I love that little interaction. And there's so much small, when everybody's reaction to Organism getting that deal with Puma.
Yeah.
That was that was really cool. That was cool in terms of telling a story. But throughout the season, you get frustrated and you gotta get mad at Cream Cheese because of the way that he's treating Organism, because of the way that he's let this fame go to his head. And this episode said, "Now let's make you feel bad for it. Let's make you feel bad for kind of rooting against him." And I see it. His extra's right. He's looking for that validation.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, it's a solid episode. That's why I said, hey, what do you give it?
I give it an A as well, for many of the same reasons you did. I just thought it was a fascinating insight into the life of Trevor. What he is like instead of the cream cheese persona that he is known for. It's just like at times it comes across that he forgets that he actually has that name. You know, um, it's like, oh shit, yeah, my name is Trevor. What the fuck? Um, I don't know. It just came across like that to me, but I think it was. I think it was really well done. I enjoyed it. Um, I'm curious as because there's only 3 episodes left. Um, I'm curious if we're going to see that actual coming together of organism and cream cheese playing together and being on the same page and understanding each other and see where they can go. Because at this point, it's like, okay, they're all the gears are in place. They just need to fucking sync up and turn the right way, and they could fucking win the championship. And you want to see that, or at least I do. But
Yeah, like I was gonna say, this show is funny. The show is more funny than it's not, and to me, a comedy does not need to end in tragedy. So they 100% need to win. But here's what I argue: they need to win next episode. That way, we have 2 episodes post win.
oh yeah, yeah.
But that's just me. Or maybe you agreed with this, so it's you too. But
No, I see that. Or at least, um, give us 1 episode of post tournament play, at least, to see what happens, the fallout from it if we don't get 2. But yeah, I'm in agreement with that. But yeah, everybody check it out. It's a really entertaining show. You don't have to know a lot of video game terminology, specifically League of Legends terminology, to be able to enjoy the show. It helps, but it's not necessary.
I think I said last episode of the podcast that the terminology that they use and the way that they use it would be no different than any other sports documentary. And
Absolutely.
If you don't know anything about basketball, you could still watch that Michael Jordan documentary. It's fine. You'll still get it. You'll still understand the context. So that's how I see this show as well.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of the things, let's be fair. How hard is it to actually search a term you're curious about if you hear something like, what the fuck is an AD carrier? What the fuck is a support? It's really easy to look it up when it comes to League of Legends. It explains it to you, and you don't have to, fucking. It's like, oh, okay, it's this, and go on. It's not even required. That's just if you want to, and it takes 10 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, check it out. It's fun.
Please do.
It's entertaining.
Please do. Don't want this show to die. At least I don't want it to die. Maybe Paramount does. Paramount does. I don't know. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to The Boys season finale. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I don't know where you want to begin on this one.
Well, using the old Wikipedia episode entry here, we see the episode open up with Homelander finding and convincing Ryan to return with him to Vought Tower. Ryan agrees, and off they go. We see Butcher and Huey and Soldier Boy readying up to head to New York for the confrontation with Homelander. And while Huey's in the bathroom, Butcher knocks him the fuck out because he doesn't want to see Huey get hurt any further because, he knows the compound, the temporary V, the V24, as it's called, is killing them. And if they continue to take it, it will kill them. So he knocks Huey out and leaves him behind. Huey calls Annie. She comes and picks him up. He apologizes. She has the I told you so moment. They go back to MM's place, where they meet up with MM, Frenchie, Kimiko, and eventually Maeve, after she escapes from Vought's custody. They devise a plan of what they're going to do. In the meantime, Homelander kills Noir in a moment where Noir goes to Homelander and saying, "Soldier Boy is coming, we must kill him," written on paper. And Homelander just punches into his stomach and just starts ripping his intestines and just disemboweling him right there on the spot.
But specifically because
Homelander knew that Noir had withheld the information. He asked him, he's like, "Did you know that he was my father?" And he nodded. He's like, "Why didn't you tell me? Of all the people, why didn't you tell me?" But yeah, seeing Noir actually fade away and his little cartoon friends just standing there. You'll soon be in his sweet embrace. That part
it's so
played
fucking
me.
funny. So goddamn funny.
But yeah. So Butcher and Soldier Boy meet up with the boys and Annie and Maeve, and they trap everybody but Maeve in a safe room before she leaves with Butcher and Soldier Boy so they can go and kill Homelander. Upon getting to Vought Tower, Homelander begs Soldier Boy to accept him, and Soldier Boy says, "You're nothing but a fucking disappointment," and they start throwing down and fighting. Ryan attempts to save Homelander. Soldier Boy attacks him too, causing Butcher and Maeve and the boys, as they break out of the safe room and arrive at Vought Tower to witness everything, to all just team up against Soldier Boy. In that moment when Butcher and Homelander looked at each other, it's like, "Ooh, I want to fucking kill you so bad, but this asshole's our bigger worry right now." That look, that shared understanding as they turned on him, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Soldier Boy attempts to fire another blast. Maeve tackles him out of the building while Homelander escapes with Ryan. The blast that Soldier Boy was building up, it looked like it kills Maeve.
Well, I thought for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely thought she was done for. But then you see that she's not. She's bruised. She's powerless. She's missing an eye. Because that was wild. Holy shit. But she and her girlfriend go, and they say they're going to go live on a farm, live a quiet life where Homelander can't find them. And we see
She's also powerless. Did you say that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
She's powerless. Because that's the one thing we learned in the one episode of Soldier Boy's fucking concussion blast that comes from his chest. It depowers suits, which is why they wanted to use it on Homelander so badly.
Right.
We see Butcher at a doctor in a hospital. They tell him he's got anywhere from 12 to 18 months to live. That the V-24 it's killing him, and there's no turning back. It's just,
yeah.
We see Starlight, Annie. She officially joins the boys. We see Soldier Boy get put back into custody, and then we see the announcement of Victoria Newman is the vice presidential running mate of what's his name? Anyway, the guy running for president.
It's some simple name too, which is killing me. Hang on.
Yeah. Oh, Bob Singer.
Singer. Thank you. Fuck.
Yeah. Jim Beaver plays him, and I love Jim Beaver.
Yeah, I was gonna say the actor's fantastic.
But the final scene is a direct fucking parody, direct fucking take of fucking when Trump was running and he said I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and people would still love me for it. We see Homelander basically, he introduces Ryan as his son to a bunch of people in a park, and an anti-Homelander protester was there and yells fucking fascist and throws like a water bottle or something and hits Ryan in the head with it. And Homelander just looks at him and heat visions the dude's head and kills him right there on the spot. And then the crowd just erupts with cheers and adoring. And you see Homelander smiling, and then you see Ryan just crack a small smile as well. So it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And that's how the season ends.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better for the characters. I mean, like, one of the things about that shot, by the way, that is so important is the person who starts cheering immediately after the guy gets his head lasered off is MM's stepfather, or MM's daughter's stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
Brad, I think his name is.
Yeah, I think so.
I remember that name, but I can't remember everything else. Yeah, that's a no good. Yeah, this whole episode was like, this season leading to this was so fucking good. Like, it was so satisfying and well constructed to the point that, like, one of the big things that this show had done was you sympathize with the boys because they are the ones kind of keeping the shitty soups in check, right?
Yeah.
As the series has gone on, the one that you sympathize with the most right off the bat was Huey, because of what he was going through. But every other member of the boys, you were like, I get where you're coming from, but you do it in the shittiest fucking way possible, and you're kind of pieces of shit, and you're not meant to be like looked up to. And as the series has gone on, you start to really, really sympathize with Frenchie and MM and Kimiko and Starlight. Not one fucking time in this entire show do you sympathize with Butcher. Yeah, because, I mean, kind of with his flashback scenes.
Yeah.
But just fucking barely. And I say that because you're sitting there watching this whole thing, and you're like, okay, cool, he's protecting his little brother, and he's going to view Huey like his little brother. And that's great and all. That's great. But then he still does shitty things. He's still an absolute piece of shit. And the only reason you're on Butcher's side is because fucking Homelander's a bigger piece of shit. That's what I love about this show. I love fucking deeply flawed characters.
Yeah.
On both sides. It's wonderful. Like, I understand psychology where Homelander's coming from, right? Mm-hmm. He has been a product his entire life. He has the trauma of having been raised in a facility that was training him to be a superhero. He has been brainwashed and manipulated his entire life, been lied to. His lashing out makes psychological sense. But so does, like a lot of serial killers out there. Like, the guy that was in the fucking Netflix show that we really liked,
Mindhunter, Ed Kemper.
Mindhunter. Yeah, Ed. Like, I get him. I understand his mindset. His psychology is fascinating. He's not a good person. And so, as I can sympathize with that aspect, I cannot sympathize with what Homelander does. I cannot sympathize with what Butcher does. But my God, is it good TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody is killing their roles. I want to say that right now. Not a single actor in the show is bad. Not a one. Personally. And if you see that differently, let me know. But it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is well acted, well written. The the layers to this show are fascinating. It's one of the best things out there that you can watch. It really is.
Yeah. And then another thing this show does that the comic book does not do in any way, shape, or form is make me give a shit about the other heroes. Like in the comic, it focuses primarily on the boys.
Yeah.
Those scenes of like sympathizing with Black Noir and A Train and the Deep and things like that.
Timothy.
None of that.
He's praying.
It's still funny as hell. None of that exists in the comics, or at least how far that I read into the comics. Like Supes are just pieces of shit in the comic, but this show does a better job at going into different characters. Like A Train's entire thing with his family, and killing that other Supe, and it's so well structured. Or having the entire character of Ashley is something brand new. Like I hate to say it, the show's better than the comic.
Oh, wow. I've not read the comic ever, so I want to.
It's not bad in compared to the comic. Like it's just
not like Umbrella Academy is. I'm sorry, I love the show. Comic is god awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty fucking bad. I don't know. Like I'm super excited for next season. It's gonna be great. We gotta wait a whole year. Whole year. Well, let's go to a final thought and a grade, and then we'll move on to Ms. Marvel.
Oh, this episode I give it an A+. It was fucking stellar. There was nothing wrong with this episode. Everything was wrapped up, presented to us with a nice little bow, and then gives us our tease, with the threat of Victoria Newman becoming a vice president. We see Homelander as, basically the worst case scenario personified and being worshipped as a result.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where it goes. I can't wait. And holy shit, what a fun ride.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Oh, sorry. I mirror everything you said from front to back. It's A+, stellar show. That final confrontation was everything I wanted and more. It had twists and turns I wasn't expecting, and it had an outcome that makes the situation worse, but resolved an issue at the same time. It's really fucking well done. Really well done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, A+ for me. I got nothing else. Ms. Marvel season finale for that one. Sorry, I was about to start reading a synopsis when that's not my job.
Yeah, I will. Give me just a second.
Okay. I'm actually like in the process of constantly texting my dad because he's done with dialysis, and he's like, "I'm gonna be heading home soon." I'm like, "Okay."
All right. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I'll just edit that little minute out. So the season finale of Ms. Marvel, episode 6, it's called No Normal. So here's a synopsis. We see Bruno and Kamran on the run, and we see Agent Deaver ordering the lockdown of the city and wants to find Kamran alive. She does order non-lethal rounds be used, so the Department of Damage Control is using these cool sonic weapons in their pursuit. We see Kamala and her mother return home from Pakistan, and she reveals to the family, who already knew, that she was the powered girl known that people have been calling Nightlight, and her mom gives her a gift, and it's her costume. Um, after Kamala puts on the new suit, she goes and she meets up with Bruno and Kamran, who is being plagued with pains, and uh, they meet up with Nakia and apparently Zoe at the high school, and devise a plan on how to distract and get away from the damage control agents, because Kamala figures, hey, if they want Kamran, if we get him out of here, then they'll leave us alone. Her brother shows up. He helps them implement this plan, and they're just using fire extinguishers and other things, science experiments, to distract and stall and slow down damage control agents in the high school, while the damage control agent Deaver and her commander is outside, and they've blockaded off the high school, and a crowd is gathered, and the Zoe girl gets on her. The Zoe girl. Okay, that was weird. Zoe gets on her Instagram, on her social media, and tells all of her followers, get down here, support us, retweet this, reblog it, everything you can. They're trying to hurt us. We need your support. So a crowd's gathering outside, and the cops are seeing agent. The cops are, trying to keep everybody back, and they're witnessing Deaver's actions as the agent in charge of damage control. We eventually see Kamran learn from Kamala that his mother has died, and he starts losing control of his powers, as he's just learning how to use them, and it's causing a threat. We see them not really fight each other, but she's just trying to help contain and talk reason and sense into him. And yeah, eventually she does and helps him get away. He slips away to Pakistan to meet Kareem, the Red Dagger. And we see Bruno he's leaving for Caltech, but not before dropping this little nugget that during his studies, he thought that the bangle unlocked her power, but that's not it. That she had a gene that was mutated, and that's why she has her powers. And then we see credits roll, and then mid-credits scene, we see Kamala doing something in a room, and then the bangle does something weird, knocks her through her closet door, and then out steps Carol Danvers. And Kamala is gone. And then it says, Miss Marvel will return in the Marvels.
That ending shot was not what I was expecting for their fucking post-credit scene, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's gonna lead into something else, but that I was like, what? That was fucking cool. I really enjoyed this whole episode. It was a much better finale than the the resolution we got last episode.
Yeah, I agree. I still feel, though, it was a little too fast paced, a little disjointed at times.
Sure.
And a little too on the nose. Oh, she's got her costume from her mother. Her mother, who was very strict on her and very not understanding of her, now all of a sudden understands her and decided to have her a costume made.
Well, and as much as I agree with you, I do feel like there's a bit more to add to that of her mom kind of changing her opinion on it.
Yeah, she's definitely softened her stance.
But a lot of that has to do with her own mother. That has to do
Yeah,
with like because her mom growing up was like, this is our family history. This is the whole thing. And she was like, nah, that's not true, mom. That's bullshit. And now that she's seen it with her own daughter, and she realizes that her mom was trying to get her to appreciate her own culture, like there's a lot of that now.
yeah, yeah, and I see what you're saying there, and I agree.
But I do agree that it feels very fast in regards to her mom being more open to that.
Yeah,
But you got to move it fast. You only got 6 episodes because they want to tell a long movie is what they want to do.
yeah, and that's essentially what it is. Basically, it could be 2.5 hour movies, and that's what you'd have.
Yeah.
I think the runtime for all 6 episodes is just over 5 hours, because I think it's like 49 minutes an episode, with the exception of last week was only 38.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that's what Kevin Feige said. That was the whole point of these shows being like 6 episodes, is they're just long movies. So I know that's their plan, but you can only do so much too. So
we've essentially been introduced to her as the first mutant.
that was something that threw me for a loop because I thought he was gonna say there's something in you that's just inhuman, is what I thought he was gonna say, because she's an inhuman in the comics.
Yeah, but see, Inhumans in the MCU, I mean, they did it for TV, but it flopped, and I don't think did they say it's like not canon?
Yeah, they said that show's not canon, but that brings me to my other point, is that they did introduce Black Bolt to people through Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, and they mentioned the Terrigen Mists.
So they could have
easily said there's something inhuman in your makeup, but instead they said there's something in your genes. It's some type of mutation.
Yep.
So they've opened the door for mutants.
Yeah.
They could have gone Inhumans, but everybody knows people want the mutants. And honestly, the relationship between the Inhumans and mutants is so similar. And I mean,
the only difference is that their powers are activated differently. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like a mutant's powers are activated at puberty usually because of a gene, whereas the Inhumans' powers are activated by the Terrigen Mists.
But they both have like people with really shitty powers and people with really good powers. So
exactly. So just saying, you're a mutant, I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, look at Blackagar Boltagon. I love saying his name. By the way, for anybody watching this that has seen Multiverse of Madness, doesn't really know who Black Bolt is, his real name is Blackagar Boltagon, because comics are fucking weird. Love them to death, but they are bizarre.
Especially comics that, from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and give this season, not just the last episode, but the season, an A. I really enjoyed it. Sure, there were some hiccups, but like I wasn't bored with any episode. I was thoroughly like, oh, I can't wait till next week. And I really enjoyed the more lighthearted nature of this. We've had a lot of like very heavy-handed Marvel stuff lately that has a lot of repercussions, and it was nice to just kind of have a slightly silly, happy-go-lucky, contained story. Sure, we left Jersey City and went to fucking Pakistan, Karachi. I was like, I remember the fucking name of the city. But it was still contained, I felt like. Like the larger majority of the MCU, the characters that exist in the MCU don't know it had happened.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What would be your grade?
This episode, I'd give it an A-. Series as a whole, I'd give it I don't know if I want to go B+ or A-. It's borderline. It's right in there. It's not as good as I wanted it to be, but it's still very, very, very good. I really love how it showcased the culture um, and heritage of Kamala and her family and friends. I love. I'm going to say it. I love how brown this show is, both in front of the camera and behind the camera.
Yeah.
It deserves a heaping amount of praise for that. But it's bright, it's colorful. There's heart and soul there. It's got a lot going on for it. Yes, at time it is a little disjointed and rushed, but at the same time, it's focusing on a 16-year-old kid, and I have a 15-year-old. I know what they're like. You get disjointed and rushed.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a friend of mine posted yesterday they tried to watch it and had to quit 10 minutes into it. This morning I saw that they gave it another chance and they watched the whole series, and they went from initially giving it a 2 out of 10 rating to an 8 out of 10 rating.
What changed?
They just gave it a chance and just accepted it for what it was. It's a good show. There are pacing issues. It does suffer a few hiccups here and there, but it tells a great story.
That's fair. I've always been the kind of viewer when it comes to things that I have a rule, and that's 3 episodes. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I keep doing that today. 3 episodes, and if it can't hook me in 3, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I think everybody else should be that way. Like, I'm glad that they gave it a chance. I'm glad they gave it a shot because it's a good show. It's well structured, it's well done. I'm glad. Like, I'm fucking excited for the Marvels movie now. Because we have a Kamala that is cool. Like, she's fun. I like the Miss Marvel. I don't know why people hated on it so much, other than she's a woman. But other than that, I enjoyed that movie. Was it the best movie? No. That had a lot of issues.
Oh, you mean Captain Marvel?
Yeah, Captain Marvel. Sorry. Did I say Miss Marvel? My bad.
You did.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. Like, I really enjoyed Captain Marvel as a character. I like Carol Danvers.
Yeah, same.
And I'm excited for her next movie. And the fact that we know Kamala is going to be in it, and we know that I keep wanting to say Photon because I know that's the name they're going to give her.
Oh, Monica Rambeau.
Fuck. There we go. Yeah, Monica. We know that Monica's going to be a part of it. And Nick Fury is going to be in it. Like, I'm excited for that fucking movie. It's going to be great. At least I hope it's great. Who knows? But I also want to point something out. Since we talked about Marvel, and I did go and see Thor: Love and Thunder on last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if you like these movies or not, or these TV shows or not every single one of them is going to be for you. Not every single one of them is going to be great. I want to lay that out there. If you've been a long-time reader of comic books, then you know this, especially Marvel and DC. You know that for the big events, you don't have to have read all of Spider-Man and all of Captain America and all of Iron Man leading up to the event. As long as you know who the characters are, get a brief, maybe from YouTube, summary of what led them to this point, which 9 times out of 10 the events tell you, you just have to enjoy the event. Not even have to. You just get to enjoy the event. And a lot of the times there are long gaps between events. Long gaps. And you have smaller events throughout with just little tiny crossovers. Guess what the fuck Phase 4 is, y'all? Phase 4 is 1000% that.
Mm-hmm.
It's that long gap between events. If it feels like Phase 4 isn't leading to something, it's because it's fucking not. It's just telling you a bunch of cool stories within the Marvel Universe. Be patient, and your patience will be rewarded, as it has for us reading comic books growing up. Do you think that they just made Civil War the comic? No. There were 4 years of comics leading up to Civil War. 4 years. Just enjoy the ride. And if there's a movie or TV show from Marvel that you don't enjoy, don't watch it. You don't have to have watched Miss Marvel. Watch a fucking 5-minute YouTube video that tells you what happens in the show so you know who the character is going into the Marvels. Or if, like, let's say you didn't watch Loki and you kind of want to know what happens, but you don't really have the 6 hours to dedicate to the show, watch a 5-minute YouTube video. Learn about what happened in the show. And then watch Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. Literally had somebody go and watch, they were going to go watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but they did not watch WandaVision, and they did not watch Loki. As a matter of fact, they didn't watch a whole lot of Marvel leading. Like, they watched No Way Home, and that was about it.
Huh.
So leading into Doctor Strange, they didn't have a whole lot of that information. So they went and watched a fucking YouTube video that was like everything you need to know before watching Multiverse of Madness. And it was like 10 minutes. Like, the Marvel Universe is so fucking popular right now, especially with movies and TV shows. There are 1,000 YouTube channels willing to tell you what happened in a short fucking compressed version leading into this movie or big event you're going to see. It's not impossible to do a little bit of due diligence into this. And again, I can't count on my hands and toes how many times I've read a big event, either in trade or a month-to-month series that came out, that lasted 7 issues, and it was awesome. And I barely knew what the fuck any of those characters were doing beforehand. Like, Civil War in the comic starts off with a bunch of characters I hadn't even heard of. And then
that was when the not Night Thresher, but the New Warriors.
Yeah.
Was it Speedball?
Speedball, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's kind of what I mean, is that, like, I'm seeing so many fucking comments, like, after Thor: Love and Thunder, there were a lot of people that didn't like that movie. And a whole bunch of people coming out of the woodwork now, Maya, that are in your boat of, like, I don't really like this funny Thor. I'd rather have the Thor we had in Dark World. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with not digging what Taika has done with Thor. Or, like, that Ant-Man is Scott Lang and not Hank Pym. Or that Iron Man is dead within the Marvel Universe because it's live action movies and Robert Downey Jr.'s done. There's nothing wrong with not liking any of that. But that's what's also great about Marvel. There are so many characters and so many stories to tell. You don't have to like all of them. You really don't.
Yep. I mean, hell, my peak time of reading comics in the 90s, from say 89 to 97, during that span, I read almost everything Marvel and DC had to offer. And there were certain things that I didn't care for, but there were things that I loved. But from time to time, they'd cross over, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool. And it'd give me some interest in something, and I'd pick it up for a little while, then I'd put it back down. You don't have to be dedicated 100% to it. You can be a casual fan. You can still be you're a fan. If you're a fan, you're a fan.
Oh, that too. Yeah, no gatekeeping. We don't gatekeep here.
If you're a fan, you're a fan. You appreciate it for what you appreciate it for. And, valid criticisms and genuine dislikes of things for valid reasons, that's all well and good. We're not here to shame anybody for that.
I will shame you just to clarify, I will shame you if you say that you don't like a character because of their skin color, their gender, their sexual orientation, or I got nothing else. If you judge a product based on those criteria, kindly go fuck yourself.
Yeah, we'll shame the shit out of you for that, but that's not what I was saying. But yes,
I know. I just want to clarify.
I didn't feel it needed to be said, but Greg said it anyway.
I just wanted to say it. But yeah, so like that's what I want people to understand. You don't have to like Thor: Love and Thunder. You don't have to like Miss Marvel, but you might really like She-Hulk. You might not like She-Hulk. You might fucking love. Like, there's a ton of people that love Eternals.
Saw a rumor I liked Eternals. Saw a rumor this morning that Jessica Jones is going to show up in She-Hulk.
That would be fucking dope.
Yeah, it would.
It had to be played by Ritter. The fuck's her first name?
Kristen Ritter.
Kristen, thank you. I want to say Jennifer, but I was like, that's not right.
No, that's the rumor.
I just have this like poster on my wall here of all these fucking Marvel superheroes, and most of them have made it into the movies. But there's this like lineup in the back of all these characters we haven't seen yet. Like, we still have the Fantastic Four to introduce in the MCU. We still have the X-Men to introduce. Like, we could still bring in the Inhumans. It's totally fucking possible. Oh man,
yeah.
A new cartoon show coming out too to Disney Plus. Moon Girl and something dinosaur, Double Dinosaur.
Oh.
Which it's an animated series, but I'm looking forward to it regardless.
So that's the thing. The MCU, when they debuted, we didn't get the most popular super teams.
No,
we got
we did
the
not.
Avengers. The Avengers, I'm sorry, we're B level.
Yeah. Like, for me, the Avengers were cooler than the X-Men, like when I read them. I know that people love the X-Men more, but the X-Men were the A-team. Like, they were the top tier that everyone fucking loved it when you talked about Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
And like, Avengers wasn't even in the top 3.
No.
But now they're number 1 because of the movies.
Yep.
But I was a big fan of the Avengers because I've always really, really enjoyed street level superheroes. So like anytime Daredevil and Spider-Man teamed up, I was in it to win it. Like, I was like, this is the best. I actually have a poster on my wall of Daredevil and Spider-Man teaming up. Probably take out Kingpin more than likely.
I was going to say on Karen Page or Mary Jane.
It's a tag team situation. But yeah, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. Like, I don't know who listens to podcasts that needed to hear that, but that's the truth. Like, just fucking enjoy the ride. Jesus Christ. We're actually getting content and something. I grew up being fucking made fun of for reading these comics. And now they're cool. And we all get to enjoy them. And I get to say, now you know what I loved growing up. You know, now you see what I was drawn to reading these comics. You get to experience that with me. Cool. Dope. Yay. And then you got gatekeepers coming in out of nowhere going, this is our thing. What the fuck do you mean our thing? Shut up. Shut the fuck up, kid. Anyway, all right. That's going to do it for this week, guys. Next week, we're going to be doing Continuing Players, Episode 8, and South Park: The Streaming Wars, Part 2. Be fun on the bun. I can't wait. It's going to be good. But that's it. That's all we got next week. It's been a heavy fucking June and beginning of July. Been a bunch of shit that we've watched. But yeah, make sure to follow us on the socials listed down below. Try to keep you updated if we add anything, which is a total possibility, but I don't remember seeing anything that we want to add to this upcoming week. So who knows? But we'll let you know as soon as we know. Check out the Teespring store if you want, like, tank top, a shirt, a pint glass, sticker. You still get a coffee mug, but that's usually for hot drinks, and it's been unbelievably hot lately, so that's fun. But yeah. What's up?
Yeah, that's not going to deter my coffee drinking any fucking way whatsoever.
That's understandable. I mean, iced coffee exists, and I'm down for that. But do you put that in a coffee mug? That's my question. I put that in the pint glass. I put iced coffee in a pint glass.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just keep in mind all proceeds go to the production of the podcast, as evident with the previously where Maya had to fix up her computer. So
I had to buy an audio interface and headset cable.
interface.
That was $220 that I didn't really want to spend.
But yeah, you guys help when you buy shit. And then also, if you buy something and you want us to see you wearing it, holding it, eating it, putting it on your butt, send us that picture. Let us know. We'll give you a big old thanks and ask if you want to have us share it. Say like, look at this cool person wearing cool shit.
On your butt.
Yeah, well, if someone does put a sticker of us on their butt, I'm more than willing to put it on our social medias. The silence is deafening. If you want to watch the live video of today's podcast, head on over to our YouTube channel. That link is also below. If you're looking for more podcasts to listen to, head on over to the Nirvana Network. There's plenty of geeky shows with wonderful nerdy people talking about all sorts of shit. That link is also below. That's it for my notes. That's it for my notes. Where can people find you, Maya?
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Maya Dawn Fisher. It's a public profile that also happens to have my Instagram and Twitter accounts linked to the page, so you can follow me at all three places in one location. You can also catch me on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel every other Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on a show called Figure Banging. I didn't make an appearance this week because of, everything that's going on in my personal life with the loss of my friend and everything. But this week they looked at a cool new figure, a Masterpiece Trainbot Shuki from the Headmasters cartoon series from Japan in '87. So check that out if you're into that kind of thing. But yeah, that's everywhere where you can find me. What about you, Greg?
You can find me on all socials under Chub Rock Geek. I also from time to time do a review on the YouTube channel. I haven't lately, but with the copious amounts of time I currently have, I should probably do that just to keep my mind busy. So maybe expect more reviews over there. Who knows at this point? But yeah, definitely check out our YouTube channel because there's content on there. At least I'm trying. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Remember, Players Episode 8, the South Park Streaming Wars Part 2. Fuck the GOP, fuck the NRA. Donate and help where you can. And we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.